Welcome to the show, Sophie. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to come on. I'm really looking forward to chatting with you.
Not a problem at all. And I tell you what, before we get going, you do speak to quite a lot of famous stars, don't you? You had Kevin Campbell on yesterday. Do tell us, Laura Woods as well come on, didn't she?
Yeah, so I did do a video with Laura, and something happened to like the footage, which was quite unlucky. So I'm gonna have to redo it with her. But yeah, I did do a video with Kevin. I've had him on my channel before, and I thought, why not bring him back on to talk a bit about the season? So yeah, I think it's just lovely to have those kind of opportunities, and it's also, lovely to chat to people like yourself and other people who I bring on my channel. And yeah, Kev is so lovely, and I think everyone knows how amazing he is. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting a bit about the game with you today, and I'm very happy to be on here.
Not a problem, and it's our pleasure to have you on here, Sophie. And of course, you spoke to Cecil as well, didn't you, recently from Arsenal Fan TV? Who can forget
Yeah.
him?
Oh, we love Cecil. He's lovely.
Brilliant.
Do you know what? I was saying to him yesterday, I could talk to him like all day. Like he's got so much energy. He's always lovely to talk to.
When I met him in person, and I met him in person twice actually, because of course I did the preview over at Arsenal Fan TV. But yeah, the other one, to be honest, I wasn't very happy. I didn't look very happy. Of course, after the game, and we'll
Yeah.
we'll discuss why. We'll discuss why. Um, so let's look at this game from the very start beforehand as
Mhm.
well. Saka and
Mhm.
Rice were doubts, and Arsenal have got a number of injuries. Going into this game, there was a quite a bit of concern. It seemed from the Arsenal fans. I had a look at some comments online,
Mhm.
and um, what was your thoughts going into this?
Yeah, it's obviously not good with injuries because they're sort of catching up on us, and we've just got back in the Champions League, and we've really got to find a way to balance it through that. But I think going to this game, I think I knew we'd probably get a win. I do expect to kind of get a win at Bournemouth. So I think, I was surprised to see Declan Rice, to be honest, starting, because I was worried that it might have been a few games he would be out for, because I think if he didn't play, I'd be okay. I think the City game at the weekend is probably the game that I'd really want him to play in. So
Yeah.
surprised to see him. Well, with Saka, whenever he limps off the pitch, he gets a bit injured. He always plays the next game. So I think when it's with Saka, you never get worried because he gets kicked about a lot, but he always gets back up and plays every game. So yeah, I think obviously the injuries we are having right now, no Partey is set to be back, but I think we're being quite lucky to have not big injuries. I know Timber at the start of the season was a massive blow, but I think going to the game was definitely surprised to see Declan Rice play, because I thought he would have been out for a little bit longer.
And neither of them trained according to
Mhm.
Arteta all week. So I was quite surprised myself. Um, Arsenal have been unlucky with injuries. How long did Jurriën Timber play in that Nottingham Forest game?
I don't know actually. I think it might have been quite long. I think he did start the game. I think he might have got taken off around the I think it was late on in the game, around the 70th minute probably,
Yeah.
because it's just a big surprise him being injured. I think we would have had maybe a better start to the season because we could
Mhm.
rotate players around at the back. But yeah, I think he it was around that time, a bit towards the end of the game, that he got injured. So it's
Yeah.
really unfortunate.
He did look good though, didn't he, for those early spells? And it's a real blow. But going into this game, to be honest, I had a little bit of faith
hmm
in my team. I thought that things would click for Iraola because of
hmm
what happened against Brighton the week before, which, let's be honest, we were poor. We did some really silly things at the back. There was the mistake between Neto and Kirkes, and then of course the goal scored 16 seconds from the kickoff. But Saka scored, and again, do you think it was more a defensive mistake from Bournemouth, or do you think Arsenal, this is typical of Arsenal? Because the way I see it is,
Mhm.
I don't think Arsenal are playing as well as last season, but
Mhm.
they're getting the job done.
Yeah, I think that. I think we're definitely, I've said this to Kevin in the video I did. We're not playing as much of that free flowing football, but we're being more, I think, resilient. We're finding, ways to kind of win ugly, win in difficult moments, and obviously our team has changed. We've got Havertz coming in now, and obviously Xhaka was a big part to play in our
Mhm.
team. So I think it's just taking time, and I think I'd rather us probably save our energy for the end of the season. But I think regarding that goal, I think, Jesus obviously I think hit the crossbar, and then I think Saka was just in the right place at the right time. I think it was a bit of
Yeah,
luck. But I do think in that game, I think defensively there were mistakes you could have easily have just not done, with like the penalties as well. But I
mm,
think for that one, I think defensively you could have done better. But I just think Saka was probably in the right place, at the right time, and Jesus as well was quite unlucky not to score from there.
it felt perfectly for him, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Saka, when he's in that sort of position, is gonna score every time. He's a player that I really, really do rate.
Mhm.
Um, but what was your view of the penalties? Because I'll be perfectly honest, I'm
Mhm.
not gonna, turn around and say they're not.
Mhm.
I think both of them were. I've got to say they both
Yeah.
were mistakes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know I'm an Arsenal fan, but I do think they were. I think the challenges were a bit reckless, and
Mhm.
maybe, the players just sort of dived in because they were kind of, yeah, I think they just made quite a few silly mistakes they didn't need to, and rushed into the challenges that were quite bad. So, yeah, I just think they maybe struggled with the pace of some of our players. Eddie as well on the wing, I think he did really well. But yeah, I think it's hard really because I suppose it's good for them to go in for them tackles and win the ball, but it kind of affected, that for you guys because they were quite
Yeah.
reckless the challenges. So I think for me they were penalties, both of them.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And of course, both well taken
Mhm.
penalties. But I've got to go to that third penalty. Well, the second penalty, I should say, the third goal. Kai Havertz,
Yeah.
putting it in, and that's a massive lift for him because I think he's really been doubted, hasn't he, by the Arsenal
Yeah.
fans? He's come for a lot of money, and he hasn't really done much at all.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, isn't it, really? Because at Chelsea, he was very low in confidence, and Arteta's probably came, wanted to get him and help him with his confidence. And
Yeah,
I think at the moment, I do think he's getting a bit better by each game. I think the game that I thought I really enjoyed watching him was our Champions League game, I think last week. I think you could really see he was putting the effort in. And yeah, I do think that Odegaard did the right thing to give him the penalty because I think, like, say Havertz missed, I felt like at that point we've probably already won. It was quite a comfortable game at the moment for us. So I felt like it was the right thing to do. I'm hoping that will help Havertz with his confidence going forward, but it's a tough one to kind of judge right now. I'm not 100% convinced on him at Arsenal if he will do well. I'm just trying to hope that he will because, like you said, we have paid quite a lot of money for him, and I think for me, Declan Rice has definitely paid off already, and I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. So yeah, I just think we've got to just hope and pray that he can keep this up and keep scoring goals.
Ben White, of course, got one at the
Mhm.
end, which was a bit of a surprise, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it just put the icing on the cake. A lot of the Bournemouth fans had left by that point, but
Yeah, just
I
walked out.
hadn't. I hadn't. To be honest, I sat there till the end, or stood at the back till the end, I should say. And yeah, I thought what we'll do is we'll go on to, of course, Bournemouth, because one thing that I've mentioned before
Mhm.
is that Andoni Iraola is very, very much like Mikel Arteta. They're both from the same region. They're
Yeah.
both really good friends. They both have this style of football. But my argument here is Arsenal are on one level, have got
Yeah.
quality of player who have been doing this for years under
Mhm.
Unai Emery. Of course, Unai Emery, again from the same area, plays similar sort of football. And of course, Arsene Wenger before that. Whereas we've gone from Gary O'Neill, who plays a certain type of football, Scott Parker before that, who was very, very defensive.
Mhm.
We haven't had this style since, well, Eddie didn't really play this style, but you could say he was the most similar to what Iriola is trying to replicate here. And with the players, it don't seem to be happening. What's your views on that?
Yeah, I think with managers, it's obviously a tough one because I think in certain circumstances, managers should get time because for Arteta, he has had a lot of haters. You know, he's been
Hmm.
here for quite a few years. Obviously, we've had some really low lows, and like last season, we've had some really good highs of nearly winning the league, winning the FA Cup. So
Hmm.
I think I'm all about giving managers time, but I don't think you should give managers too much time because at the end of the day, your club should be where it should be. And like, I think you're sat near the relegation zone. I know the season has just
Yeah.
started, but I know you should be higher than that. I know last season, I think you finished about 15th, and I
Hmm.
think I think you do have some really good players, and I think, yeah, it's obviously hard when you've played, top four teams in the league. Like when you play Man City, other teams like us, it's always hard to kind of beat us. But last season you were close to beating us, and I reckon probably at the Emirates, if you play us again, there's, I think we always struggle at home for some reason. I think when we're away from home, we have this confidence. So I definitely think you can get up there in the league. Up kind of, I think like last season, getting 15th. I think you've just got to kind of build on that, keep getting a bit higher. But it's obviously tough, really, because Arsenal are a different team. We have the money, we have all of this that you don't have, and you've just got to kind of deal with what you've got with the players. But I do like Solanke. I think he is a really good player. I like
Yeah.
watching him. I did think at the weekend he was really good. Obviously, fortunate to miss a few chances he took, but I definitely think he's a player to watch out for. And I think it's obviously tough when you've changed a few managers over the years. And I think it's good to stick by a manager, but it's obviously hard if you're not where you're supposed to be as a club, if you're down at the bottom. So I think you've just got to kind of see how these next few games go, and if it kind of gets really bad, then I think sometimes you have to change situations in football, really.
I was a big, big Gary O'Neill fan. Any
Mhm.
Bournemouth fan will tell you that I would thought Gary did an absolutely fantastic job here. Um, that was Alexa. But yeah, I thought that Gary was an excellent boss for us.
Mhm.
Alexa wasn't sure what I meant, but um, the thing is, when you look at
Mhm.
the corresponding fixtures, so of course, in our 7 games so far this season, of course, we played yourselves, played Brighton, Chelsea, Brentford, um, Liverpool, West Ham start of the season as well. Um, so they're all games which are tough. Spurs is the one as well. I forgot, I did want to forget them for you, but I better mention them. Um, but we got no 0 points out of these corresponding games with Gary O'Neill at the helm.
Mhm.
But Iriola has got 3 points. The style of football is so much better. But
Mhm.
I feel, and tell me if I'm wrong, that the impetus we had, just going forwards, being a little bit more reckless, probably leaving a
Mhm.
bit more space at the back, worked at the Emirates. It worked at
Yeah.
the Emirates and it worked against Spurs, of course. We did beat them 3-2. at the end of last season. Um, do you feel that with Iraola, what he does need to do is the passing side is okay. And did this happen with Arteta? The passing side, where they're
Mhm.
passing around, but when you get into that final third,
Mhm.
it's a little bit more direct, or a little bit more maybe before that.
Yeah, I definitely think like with us, I think our passing is pretty good. And
Mm.
I think the thing we struggle with is taking our chances. I think it worked for us when we played you guys because we did have most of the ball. I know you
Mm.
guys did have a few chances, but I think, yeah, I don't know why, but when we're away from home, I just think we are more likely to win. So
Mm.
it wouldn't surprise me at the Emirates if it was another one of those 3-2 winning goals again. Because I think and like we did have a lot of space to kind of take our chances, and yeah, there was quite a lot of open space. And like you said, from your point of view, there were quite a few reckless like tackles, and I think if you kind of cut them out and kind of went forward more with more intent and more directness, I do think you can be a really good team. I think it's obviously hard, like you said, you've had a lot of tough teams so far this season, and I think yeah, it's obviously going to be tough. But I still think you can do well. I think you've just got to kind of build on what you had last season, and it was a really tough game when we played you at the Emirates last time round. You made it hard for us. So, there is quality there in the team. And I think sometimes you might not always get the results, but I think for me, when I watch like Arsenal, if I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, I think that's what I love the most. So I think if you enjoy what you're seeing, then it's always good. But it's hard if you're not playing like that beautiful type of football and you're not getting the results. So it's always tough when you see that.
We have Everton next. Of course, Everton are above us
Yeah.
only by the virtue that they've got, a win. Um, but they've lost every other game apart from against. I'm trying to think where they got their point from. Oh, Sheffield United, probably the worst team in the league. They got their other point from. Um, so, to be fair, I think we should beat them.
Yeah,
But
I
we've
think so.
also got Wolves and Burnley at home. If if we don't get, let's say, 6 points out of those 3 games, when does when do we pull the plug on Iriola?
It is hard because I'm with you. I think the Everton game, I do
Mm.
think you should be winning that. I mean, they lost to Luton. I don't see how
They
you
are
can't win.
absolutely terrible, aren't they?
I know, and even we managed to beat them at Goodison Park. But yeah, I think it's hard really because I know with Arsenal a few seasons back we started off in the league and I think we lost all points. I mean, right at the bottom, and
Mm.
I do think it is fair to kind of question the manager because at the same time, not everything will be on him, but he's the guy that's leading the line. He's the one that makes these decisions. And I think, if you didn't get any points from them games, I do think it's okay to ask questions because there's been times for Arteta where there's been quite a few lows, and I've kind of worried about the direction of the club. So I do think if that happens with your team, and if you're not really enjoying what you're seeing, or if you're not, I think you need to get results in the next few games
Yeah.
because, like you said, you're right at the bottom, and you need to be up there. And like I said, you got 15th last season. You need to kind of build on that and stay up there and not be down there because I don't see Bournemouth as a relegation team at all. I think they're much better than that, and they've shown that over the years. So, yeah, I definitely think it's okay for fans to kind of ask questions if you don't get any kind of results in the next few games because I know Arsenal fans have done that when we've been struggling, and I think it's fair. Obviously, I do think it's probably important to give managers time, but if it's not working out, you've just got to say it how it is. Really, if it's not going how you want it to.
I hope you're right, Sophie. I really do hope you're right, and we can get clear of this bottom three as quickly
Mhm.
as possible. Um, I think the football is so much more enjoyable
Mhm.
than what we had last year. It's just we're not getting the goals, and we're
Yeah.
not stopping the goals, or there's a combination of not scoring enough, but then conceding at the back. Because I think probably if we compared these games against last season, it would probably be that last season we conceded more in these
Mhm.
games. But it's a case that we were scoring a bit more. And those
Mhm.
goals were meaning a little bit more in
Mhm.
those games. But let's move back on to Arsenal because you're a point away from Man City now.
Mm.
Man City have been beaten by Gary O'Neill on Wolves, so he's done you a favour.
Yeah, it's helped us
Um,
out.
yeah, I honestly think you can win this Premier League this year. You got Declan Rice; he's
Yeah.
a step up.
Mhm.
I think the team were already really, really good. I think just faltered at the end, probably in the last 6 games.
Yeah, I think, last season, I really, really believed it was our time. And
Mhm,
it's hard looking back on it because I felt like for the majority of the season, we're right at the top, and then Man City just snatched it from us at the end. And
mhm.
I do feel like, in a way, it's good this season that we've started off a bit slower because, it puts maybe a bit of pressure on Man City. They're dropping points to Wolves. No one would have saw that. I know
Yeah,
when they were losing, I thought, more Man City will come back from this. So I think it shows you that, they're not perfect and they can, make mistakes and lose games. But yeah, I think this season, I think it's not difficult. I expect Liverpool to get top four. Probably think maybe Arsenal and Man City are probably just a little bit above, Liverpool, but Liverpool will obviously be in there. But I think this season, I think we can do it. It all depends on injuries for me. I think our midfield's really important because when Declan Rice went off injured at Spurs in the second half, they could just cut through our midfield, and I feel like Declan Rice is fit for most of the season with Partey. Um, I think that'll definitely help us. And we know Martinelli, Trossard, they were a bit injured. I think I do expect them to play at the weekend. One of them, probably Trossard. I think Martinelli might be out for a little while, but I think the striker position as well is something that um, I'm really unsure about because Jesus is our kind of our main guy, and Eddie Nketiah has been playing a lot, so I think there's always that option to maybe bring an Ivan Toney in or Ollie Watkins in January, hopefully. But yeah, I'm with you. I think anything's possible, and I think I'm just taking it a game at a time, really, because last season, you get your hopes up, and then it's the hope that kills you at the end.
yeah. Oh no, to be honest, I think there was all this talk at the start of the season,
Mhm.
about us climbing into Europe, and I think the pressure was probably put on Iraola from the start, probably
Mm.
unfair pressure. Everybody was like, "Oh yeah, he can get us into Europe," and I guess we hyped him up without seeing how these players were going to react,
Mhm.
to his
Yeah.
style of play, which is better, which is better. But I think it's the players. I hope it's the players and it's not Iriola. But I think what Iriola needs to know is when does he revert back to the type that works last season, not abandon what he's doing
Mhm.
at the moment, because I want to see that, but I want to see results off the back of that. Um, but yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we can start getting points on the board. Um, Sophie, before you go, do tell everybody where they can find your channel because it is fantastic. Like I said, we've mentioned Kevin Campbell, we've mentioned Laura Woods. Who else have you had on there? We've mentioned Cecil as well. How can we forget Cecil?
Yeah, we can't leave them out, can we?
No, no,
um,
can't leave them out.
yes, so it's been so lovely to come on your channel. And to those that are watching this, please hit the like button and subscribe because you're doing amazing things on your channel, and you'll
Thank you.
definitely come on mine when we next play each other.
Yeah,
The Emirates, which will probably be nerve-wracking for us because we're always better away. But yeah, so basically, as I mentioned at the start of the video, I do have my own channel, which is Gonna Gossip TV, and I kind of just interview or chat to fans, not just Arsenal fans. Like when we kind of play you guys or any other team in the Premier League, I sort of do opposition's fans like opinions and get them on to have their say. But I've also been quite fortunate to interview some lovely people like Kev, like Cecil, who was lovely. I've done video with James off AFTV as well, and he's so nice.
Yes, yeah.
There's so many, but I've done a lot of videos from people from AFTV because I just think they're amazing. But yeah, that's sort of what I do. And yeah, feel free to check out if you want. But like I said, I'll definitely have you on my channel at some point when we play each other again.
Yeah, most definitely. It'll be a pleasure to come on. And everybody, the link is in the description. So hit the like, the subscribe, the bell button on Sophie's channel as well,
Oh,
because it is
thank you.
brilliant. Not a problem at all. Sophie, been an absolute pleasure having you on. And we will catch up, no doubt, later on in the season. Come on to the show whenever you want.
Oh, will do. Lovely to chat with you today, and I hope you guys watching back have enjoyed it too.